Welcome back to Time Out with GC. My guest has been on the show before, but as you can see on screen, very colorful, just as his personality. Kurt Minnaar, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me, Gershon. Always exciting to be
Love
here
the
to
colors,
chat with you.
Love the colors.
Lekker.
Just like you.
Oh, wait.
Personality, one of a kind.
Bright, busy.
Exactly. Now, Kurt Minnaar, educator, he's taken maths to a new level. His train of thought is always beyond the boundaries. There's actually no boundaries when it comes to Kurt Minnaar. Dreamer education, we've chatted about that before on the show. He's gone to a primary school, he's changed the landscape, and right now, a brand new job for 2021. I love this.
Yeah, bo.
You applied for this job, math subject advisor.
Oh, wait.
Sounds quite.
Yep.
Yeah?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I'll actually tell you a bit about that. So I always gone to the WCD site to go check what jobs there are. So there's two columns. There's for teachers and then there's public service. I think it's public service. And this day I'm thinking, I'm going, let me just click and see what this is about. And I just start scrolling and I see this grade 4 to 9 maths. I'm like, what is this about? Because when you're teaching, I was just teaching and I was a teacher and that's it. I didn't look for any other departmental office-based posts. And I look at this job description and I'm like, but I do this. This is what I do. Project management, the events and stuff we hosted. Materials development, supporting teachers. It's what I've been doing. And I thought, all right, let me give this thing a shot. And I just applied. Yeah.
You've taken over this job. You applied in February. You then get this job in March, which is amazing. I
Yeah.
like this because you planned things. But you get mathematics the way I remembered, 1 times 1, whatever, 1 times 3, 1 times
Yeah.
10, 10, 20, 30, 40. You come up with your own way of remembering through rap, through singing, your own mythology. And then you get maths lit. I mean, I go maths lit and I go, huh? What is
Yeah.
that? And yet, the way you do things always, as an educator, is always different.
Yeah.
New way of thinking. And we're going back now because you worked with other teachers who don't understand that change is good.
Yeah. So on the math lit front, I taught math lit for a while, 10, 11, and 12. I think it's a more practical way of looking at it. But the reality is, so there's two ways to look at it. The one conversation people have is not everybody needs maths, right? And that's true. Some people don't need pure maths, but I like to look at it as in rather have it and not need it, and need it and not have it, right? Because you might not need it now, but when you turn 40, you might want to change careers or change a course, and you might find out, I need maths. You know what I mean? Then to now go re-study, relearn, and get back in. It's a whole long game. So yeah, we need to get the the kids doing math in 10, 11, and 12 up in the country, definitely. And then what was the other part you were talking about? Doing things differently.
Doing things differently, man. There's no boundaries when it comes to you.
The world is constantly changing, right? And we constantly have to change. So just for the fact that the world is changing, the way we do things, there's no way we as teachers can remain. We constantly have to learn new things. We constantly have to look at ways to do things differently. And especially now where we find ourselves in COVID and where there's a major shift towards everybody, self-study. And now we have to we always talk about child-centered learning. Now we have to teach kids to also engage in self-study. But we also have to take a role as the teachers and the learners. We are in this together. And I think that's important, especially we talk about 21st century skills. And when a lot of people look at it, they only look at ICT. 21st century skills, it's ICT, but it's also got to do with collaboration, having kids knowing how to work with each other, because that's how we tackle problems in the real world. It's not one individual, it's groups and teams of people. But then it's also creativity and innovation and life skills. So I think that is important. And for you to remain 1994, 1996 in this era, you're going to become obsolete. Your jobs will become so much more difficult.
At the same time, also, educators or those that you've worked with, we're not speaking bad about anybody.
Yeah.
This is my view on it.
Yeah.
Not everybody sees the light that you see.
No, that is true. You have, and I think it's for any occupation. Some people want to move, some people want to stay, and there's definitely others that have kicked right at the beginning in what was it, 2016, when the word kind of got out about what I was doing. There were teachers that I work with that were against what I was doing, and one teacher asked me for advice one day, and I said, you know what, I'm not an English teacher, but if I was, this is what I would do. And while I was talking, the teacher said, "No, you're not an English teacher, don't you?" And I was like, "Okay."
Because it became an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. And that's also got to do with being willing to change. But like there are times when the disruptor will become disrupted. Like if I'm supposedly a disruptor who came with these new things, I'm gonna have to keep up with the change as well. In the next 3-4, there's already younger teachers coming now doing new and different things. I also have to get to the point where I go, nah, my bro, man, stop with this stuff, keep it. No, we have to move and embrace the change that these teachers are bringing and other people are bringing. But yeah.
Because in 3 years' time, you'll be an old buddy.
Yes.
40 years old. You're a dad already, married.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this job of yours that you'll be doing. It's almost like way back in the day, they used to have those guys walking around the inspector. So you're going to be the inspector of maths. You're going to be maths subject advisor, Boland. We're talking about Paul, Worcester, Wellington. You're going from greater metropole to the outskirts.
Look here, I won't lie to you, I'm dirty excited. I'm very excited because
On a scale of 1 to 10?
15. I'm hyped up and amped for this. Like it's what I've been asking for. On the spiritual side of things, what I've been asking for. I was looking for a bigger pool to swim in. I feel like I've paid my dues in a sense, and I've been chipping and pushing. And when I got this, that's why I'm already so grateful for the team there, right? But on the other note, my roots are in Wellington and Paul and Saron. So my family, my dad's side of the family, that's where they're from. I've got family that's still teaching that side of the world. So I'm really excited to be there because I feel like it's the right time, right place. And I've heard great stories about the Cape Winelands district.
How's your Afrikaans?
My Afrikaans is lekker. Ek kan praat. Kyk, ek het mos klasse gegee. Ek het skool gegee by Ewen Donges Hoërskool. So ek kan praat. En ek kan Kaaps praat.
Kan jy hoor sy Afrikaans en dan is hom skerp.
Hey, yeah. So we can gooi Kaaps, Afrikaans, and Eben Donges. When I was teaching here for the first while, I remember sitting there going in the staff meetings, Afrikaans in the mornings, and I'm like, and I understand. Maar dan net gooi sekere woorde uit, bro. Ons moet die handhaaf. Then I love say, what is handhaaf?
Google Translate.
So I've learned now. So yeah, I'm keen.
My guest is Kurt Minnaar, founder of Dreamer Education, also an educator, loves maths. That's what he does. He does things very differently.
Yeah.
Man, you were touching on spiritual.
Yeah.
And I'm a very positive person. Positive vibes all the time. But it is human to sometimes just have that moment where you think, what is going on?
Yeah.
You find yourself in a space too where it wasn't all roses and fresh air.
No, not at all. So I finished up something that happened in the previous school hours. So I finished up in December. I had a plan for, so I'm waiting for this job, but I had a plan for if I don't hear, I can apply and I can do X, Y, and Z. But it got to a point where I had a plan, but I started listening to all the what ifs in my head. What if this happens? What if you don't get this? What if you don't get that? I think quite a bit of self-doubt. And I think just allowing, it's great to be on the outside and people are in a negative space and you're giving this advice, but when it hits you, I think it's so much different. So I'm not going to say I was depressed or I honestly don't know what I was. I wasn't diagnosed with anything like of any of those things.
Self-introspection?
I think it was a mixture of everything. So I sat and I was like, I allowed too much of this in, so all I would do most of the time was literally watch Netflix. I was Netflix. I was finishing series like crazy. But there was also that...
What were you watching?
I got into Stranger Things. Big Stranger Things on my block. Love on my block. And then, I don't know what. I was watching some Chinese karate movies as well, just to see.
He looks like a guy who'll go out on his grass and all of a sudden kung fu.
Yeah, and you talk about introspection. So a big part of it was also just reflecting and going, because quite a few things happened at the last school I was in terms of how I handled certain things. I learned that it's very important to do the right thing, but to do the right thing the right way, and not to do the right thing the wrong way. So I learned a bit of that. How to engage with people, but I also felt like I stood up for certain things that was great. And then also just looking back at my relationships with friends, I had to message 1 or 2 people to say, I hope you're good. Don't know what's happening, sorry for doing this or whatever it was. So that was great because I feel like I've matured so much. Literally I've gone through the fire and I feel that stage and that phase has really positioned me well for where I'm going now. So it's going to take a lot to shake me now, man. You know what I mean? Because like when you feel like, oh, things are going to go wrong and my family will get affected, that eats you. That is If it's just you, then it's okay. I can handle it. But if it's now this might impact my family negative, then it's something real. So that's kind of a bit what I went through. But now we you know, God's time, God's plan. My time isn't God. Our time isn't God's time. The timelines are different. So obviously when I got that news, it was next level, because this is the thing, man. This is what I've wanted. This is probably the post that I wanted, but I never knew. I always knew I wanted a seat at the table. And I don't know if it's this table, but I've always knew I wanted a seat at a section in government where I can have an impact of what's happening in the classroom, you know, because I know a bit about bringing life to the classroom. I know a bit about serving, doing things differently, getting people to work together, you know, being part of a dance crew that did well internationally, where our leadership style was situational leadership. I was the one that maybe choreographed this. That one was good at polishing this one. So we would swap leadership roles. And I think that is one of the ways in which we have to operate now. So yeah, so not always sunshine and roses. People think this journey is just liquor and you have no idea. And I'm sure it's like that for a lot of people. Once you walk in their shoes, then you realize it's not all fun. But at the end we win, man.
No, listen, man, indeed. I mean, I know. I mean, life is all about experiences. You learn from those moments. You learn from, hey, I thought I was doing something that way, which was perhaps in my mind right.
Yeah.
And you learn through the A, B, and C that, hey, hold on. Let's do it the other way around.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for your new journey, man. Thanks for joining me in studio. Yeah. I know COVID has been a challenge to many people, also in work, financially, personally. Even if you are an artist, I mean, I know things have been very difficult, but we've got to keep going forward.
Yeah.
We've got to keep going forward because we only have one life. But listen, man, I'm going to call you, I can't call you a Pali yet, but I'm going to call you Inspector Kurt Minnaar.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, I like this. In charge of maths, subject advisor in the Boland area. Thank you so much for joining me, man. This is exciting times. And I know Dream Education is still going to continue. You're still going to come up with some great things.
Yes, we just started the YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Putting up some videos and stuff. So yeah, that's been exciting. It's a learning curve. And you know, when you start doing videos, the consistency, bro. You learn consistency.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's great. Yeah. And material development and all this stuff now is in the Cape Winelands area with a new team and stuff. So we're going to see all the stuff come to life there, surely.
Can we, in the next few months, see some Afrikaans, maths, rap, hip-hop?
Yeah,
from Dreamer Education.
Ons kan.
We're going to call it,
and
we're going to call it the Saron edition.
Woo! We can do that. And yeah, there's some exciting stuff with on Dream Education side. It's, when I started this, one of the kids in my class was in grade 8. He now finished matric last year and he started studying at UWC. So he's going to be fully on board soon, on board with what we're doing. And his first language Xhosa speaking. So we need to bring the English, the Afrikaans, and the Xhosa. You know, the inclusivity is important in language. So you'll be seeing that at some point. And that's what we're really excited for. Yeah.
All right. My guest, Kurt Minnaar, the one and only. And that's it for this week's show of Time Out with GC. A repeat Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Until then, look after yourself, take care of your family, keep inspiring, keep educating, and keep motivating. Until next time, goodbye.